Hello, everybody. I don't see anybody out there that I actually know. I do know you. Hey. Okay, so I am going to talk about how I didn't eat anything for about a week. I am a defense attorney, and my very first murder trial that I ever had was back in 2004. And I remember I got this case because all the other attorneys in New York were conflicted out. No one else could take this case. And so Judge Kennedy said to me one day, "You are going to take this case." And I was like, all right, I guess so, if that's what I have to do. So I went out to the prison and I met with my client. His name was Denny. I talked to him for hours and I fell in love with him. I was like, my client is innocent. And the very worst type of client that a defense attorney can have is an innocent client. Because then you're completely freaked out for the entire time thinking, I'm going to screw this up, this guy's going to go to jail, and he's completely innocent. So that kind of started the fear, which was about a year or so before we actually went to trial. So we're getting ready for trial, about 2 or 3 days or so before trial, and now I can't eat anymore. I'm done. I'm too nervous. I can't even really catch my breath. I'm just completely freaked out about the whole thing. And so I just kind of stopped eating. I then realized after a couple of days, I'm like, I have to eat something. So I go and I buy those Nature Valley granola bars, you know, the gross ones that are crunchy that no one likes. And I'm eating like little pieces of them as I'm preparing for trial and trying to keep it down and not get too nervous. So trial starts, and after we have our first lunch break, the very first day, I go over to the Yorktown Hotel because I'm thinking I got to eat something. So I'm sitting there and I order water. And there's another attorney there, Joanne Tyler Floyd, who has since retired, and she's this old, defense attorney. She's been doing it for years. And it's trial term, so she's in trial too. And she has this spread in front of her. Now, she's like this little woman, she weighs like 90 pounds, but she's got a whole meal in front of her. And I'm like, how are you able to eat? Like, you're in the middle of trial. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. She's like, eventually you'll be fine too. This is just your first big trial. You're going to be fine. I'm like, there's no way. I go back to the courthouse. I'm eating my little crumbs of my Nature Valley granola bar. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to make it. I'm like so hungry. Like, all I can think about is how hungry I am, but there's no way that I'm going to be able to eat anything. So we go through the trial. It's a 3-day trial. I win, of course, because I'm awesome. And because my client is innocent. And so when they read the verdict, my client, who's this kind of, tough guy, he just starts bawling. He's like hysterical crying. And of course, then I am crying. And I remember Rick Lee writes in the paper something about, how me and my client, we broke down in tears. And I'm like, Rick, like, I had all this street cred for winning this huge trial. And now you make me out to be like this, like, softie who's crying. And he's like, yeah, sorry, that's what happened. So, and I remember, so he's crying, I'm crying. There was a co-defendant who's also found not guilty. He's crying. He's like even more of a tough guy. Even his lawyer's crying. And my client's like sobbing, like he puts his head down, like he's just uncontrollably sobbing. So we get done, the judge dismisses the jury. My client had been in jail because there's no bail when you're on trial for murder, so they take him back. He has to get processed to get released. And I remember walking out of the courtroom, and there are these little conference rooms on either side of the courtroom. And I walk out, and my friend Carrie was with me, and I'm like, I just need a second. And I walk into the room by myself, and I just cry. Like, I cried for like 10 minutes, like I just sobbed. And it was really I was so relieved. And I was like, I'm awesome. Like, I won this case. Like, how awesome is that? And then the very next thing I thought was, I am so fucking hungry. Like, I need to eat something right now. And that is my story. Thank you.